come right on in. That's right. Come on, come on. Come closer. We're taking you behind the scenes of a television motion picture production. This is the way it looks before all the glamour's added. Confusing? Believe me, it only looks that way. Actually, everything's clicking very smoothly. It's like putting together a house or cooking a meal. A dash of this and a little of that. Now, in this case, the ingredients are cameras, crews, and actors. They're all working together for your eventual entertainment. That's me way in the back there going through a rehearsal. Me? I'm Broderick Crawford. It's the first time they've ever watched a picture being made. They think we need psychiatrists.
Right. Please move out. That's it. That light's on. Light's ready. All right, let's drive her.
We all set?
Yeah, I think.
All right, wait a minute. Let me get organized here. I'd like to kind of clarify this confusion, if I can, a little bit. I'm now set for a new role that I'm going to do, that of an agent in the United States Secret Service. It's a television series we're going to start. Right now, you're in my office. My desk. Here's my chair. Kind of like to try it on for size for a minute. Oh. A fellow my size needs a big chair, and this is going to be just dandy. I'd like to tell you that we've done everything in our power to make sure that this series is going to be absolutely authentic down to the last detail. And we were very fortunate in receiving the complete cooperation from the head of the United States Secret Service, Chief Bauman in Washington, D.C. As a matter of fact, a week or so back, we made a trip to Washington. We saw the chief in his office. As a matter of fact, we shot some film there. But rather than tell you about it, suppose I show you a film record of what we did in Washington. You all set? Huh? It's all yours. Take it away. There's nothing quite like a cross-country trip by plane to give you the idea of how great this country of ours really is. You know, sometimes sitting around in one place for too long, you lose perspective. You get to thinking all there is to America is just a 2x4 area of your own particular backyard. All you need is an airplane to change all of that. And, brother, believe me, it changes. You get the feel of our land all over again. You get the idea of how big it really is. Yeah, you gotta see it from way up above. You gotta see its rolling fields and rivers, its hills and its trees, and its cities. Oh, brother, those cities. Denver, Chicago, Pittsburgh, New York, Washington. The names just kind of roll off your tongue, don't they? The good old USA. Like most Americans, I guess, I'm a pretty sentimental guy at heart. Because I never see our nation's capital without thinking of Valley Forge and the men who founded our republic. The city, well, beautiful in its architecture, it's more than just a collection of monuments and buildings. It represents a dream of security within freedom, which all of the government agencies, including the Secret Service, are dedicated to preserve. There may be things missing in Washington. I haven't found any, but if there are, believe me, hospitality is not one of them. From the minute we arrived, the red carpet was laid down for us. For us? Oh, yeah, there were two of us. I was in Washington primarily to see the chief of the United States Secret Service, but I brought my own chief along with me. That's him right there behind me. William F. Brody, the producer of the TV series, known affectionately by the men who work with him and for him as Billy. You can be sure of one thing you'll never find missing in Washington: press information. As an actor, I've been interviewed by a lot of newsmen and women around the globe. And take my word for it, the fourth estates in our capital are really on the job. They asked the usual questions. Why were we in Washington? We were very happy to tell them. We were embarking on a new television series based on the Secret Service. Yeah, that's right. I was going to play a Secret Service agent. We were in Washington setting up our pre-production procedure. As part of this procedure, we were going to meet the chief and other high-level executives. Nothing was being spared either in the way of time or money to make the series absolutely authentic. This wasn't going to be any phony baloney cops and robbers series. This was going to be the real thing. We had our work cut out ahead of us. But first, we had to get ourselves oriented. The Woodner Hotel took care of that very basic part of it. Getting our feet back on the ground, I guess you might call it. Washington in the spring. Oh, man, the smell of it just trickles right into a hotel lobby. Gives you a feeling of bounce, of excitement. Now, Mr. Woodner himself took us in tow, along with his manager, Mr. Kaufman. How was the trip? Just fine. We told him, wonderful. Well, he said he'd do everything he possibly could to make our stay comfortable. Our rooms were ready, and a little welcoming party was waiting for us. You see what I mean by hospitality? Mr. Woodner and everyone else concerned have done themselves proud. Tell me, who was the idiot who said that beauty and brains don't go together? You're looking at some of the sharpest journalists in Washington right now. Every top-flight news agency was represented. The Washington Times Herald, the Star, the Post, the News. Also the trades, from the Weekly Variety to the Billboard. Some of them were old friends of mine, people who were very kind to me when I won an Academy Award for All the King's Men. So we took a little time out to take care of the inner man. Part of that business I mentioned before about getting both feet back on the ground. And the interviews went on. We didn't mind. We were happy about it. We wanted plenty of people to know about our TV project. There was nothing secret about this phase of the Secret Service. We were glad to tell them about it. Glad to tell them why we were in Washington, who we'd come here to meet, what our schedule was. It's all part of the complicated business of getting a show on the road, as we call it. Now, when you see this finished product there on your TV screen, you might remember some of this. It doesn't just happen of its own accord. It's the end result of an infinite amount of different elements, all carefully thought out, then all carefully put together. Exploitation is by no means the least of these elements. But I wasn't in Washington just to have fun and satisfy the inner man. I had a lot of work to do, and it was about time to begin. Special Agent Robert E. Long was my escort to the Treasury building. Real nice guy, as all of the men I was going to meet proved to be. Going up those steps, I wondered about the fellows in advance. Secret Service. It's a pretty impressive term. Pretty mysterious, too. As a private citizen, I'd often wondered about him. What kind of a man would choose the Secret Service for his life's work? You know, I don't know why, but I was reminded of what my mother once told a drama critic when he asked her why she had chosen to be an actress. She told him, because I want to sleep till noon. Maybe a guy chooses the Secret Service because he doesn't like to sleep at all. But seriously, here's where I learned something. The members of our Secret Service are just people. Plain American citizens like you and me. There's no Gestapo in this country. That fella right there, that's Harry Neal you're looking at. He's the executive aide to the chief of the Secret Service. He was good enough to give me some of his valuable time and was my escort to the office of the chief. So here I was at last in the office of the head of our United States Secret Service, Chief U.E. Bauman. What was he like? I'll be truthful, I was nervous, but I'd soon find out.
I've been looking forward to meeting you, Mr. Crawford.
Well, thank you. I'm honored myself. You know, seeing as I'm going to play a Secret Service agent, I'd like to have you brief me on a few things, if you would. What qualities do you look for in your men?
Well, first, we require that an agent has a college degree or a certain amount of investigative experience. But there are other qualities that are required also. For instance, a man has to be in good physical condition. You can realize that because undoubtedly you've seen some of our agents running after the president's car in a parade.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But most important, he must be diplomatic in his ways and have tact. And above all, he must have good common sense.
And what are the exact duties of a Secret Service agent?
The Secret Service is a division of the Treasury Department. Our most important duty, of course, is in protecting the President of the United States. In addition, as far as criminal violations are concerned, we investigate violations pertaining to the counterfeiting of our currency and coins, forgery of government checks and bonds, and in addition, there are certain violations pertaining to the Treasury which we investigate, such as gold hoarding or violations of the Silver Purchase Act and so forth.
Do they guard anybody else besides the President?
Yes, we also guard the Vice President of the United States.
Well, how about John Foster Dulles, Secretary of State?
No, they have their own men assigned.
Oh, they have their own
protection.
completely. Do you have agents overseas at all in Europe?
No, occasionally we might send an agent abroad where there's some counterfeiting to assist or give advice to the local police.
Isn't that the President's house right across the street there?
Yes, that's the White House. Would you like to see it?
Yeah, I'd like to very much. The White House?
Yes, Mr. Crawford, that's the White House.
Oh, that's real neighborly having the President so close.
Well, that's one of our jobs, is to stay close to the president.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Is this the official flag of the Secret Service?
Yes. That happens to be a reproduction of our official badge there in the center. We have another replica of our badge over here, if you'd like to see it.
I would.
It says more details in it, naturally.
What does that signify?
Mr. Crawford, we've had that as our official badge since 1865, when the Secret Service was first organized. It's made of coined silver. By coined silver, I mean the same type of metal that's used in making our coins, the 25, 50-cent piece.
Is this one made like it, or all the badges made that way?
All the badges are made of coined silver.
Must be worth quite a bit.
Well, it's not the cash value as much as the intrinsic value.
Well, you seem to keep awful close to it, though.
Well, we don't want to lose any.
I see what you mean.
Would you like to move over here to a more comfortable chair?
Yes, I would. Thank you. You know, I'd like to get a little information out of you if I could right now. It's kind of a personal nature, this. I know that when the president was in Palm Springs, you were along with him and played a little golf. I'd like to find out about his game. Does he shoot a real low score?
I didn't play golf with him, but as far as the score is concerned, that's one of the secrets of the Secret Service. Even if we did know, we couldn't or wouldn't tell it.
Think maybe I could get it out of Ben Hogan?
Well, I doubt that.
I'm also given to understand that this is the only television series that's devoted exclusively to the closed cases of the United States Secret Service. Is this true?
Yes, that's correct. This will be the first TV series showing exclusive Secret Service closed cases.
Well, believe me, we're very honored, and I hope we can live up to the tradition and dignity of the service.
I'm sure you'll do a good job, as you always do.
Well, thank you.
Incidentally, speaking about closed cases, I've arranged with one of our inspectors to take you through a tour.
Well, fine.
Fine. I'll call him.
Thanks a lot.
Miss Duncan, will you have Inspector Torina come in, please?
Chief, I know that agents have to assume different identities. Do you by any chance have a school of acting around here?
No, we don't have any acting school.
Well, if you did, I'd like to stick around and get a few pointers.
Well, talking about pointers, perhaps I could show you how to hold a gun correctly. So many hold them incorrectly.
What do we see now? This right?
No. Hold your thumb up here. Get a firm grip.
Oh, I see.
Now you can use your thumb for any pressure moving the gun to the right or left, up or down.
Oh, I see.
Oh, here's the inspector. Mr. Torina, this is Mr. Crawford.
We've been expecting you, Mr. Crawford.
How do you do? Thank you, Chief. I'd like to thank you very much for your cooperation.
Well, thank you, Mr. Crawford.
And we'll do the very best we can for you.
I know you'll do the very best.
Thank you.
Good luck.
This was my chance to get a lot of information firsthand. The kind you don't always get out of books, such as, well, for example, the Secret Service agents during President Roosevelt's regime had to go through the kind of training usually accorded to firemen, so that if necessary, they could carry a man down a ladder on the outside of a 3-story building in case of fire. Something else I learned also. An agent's life is exposed to the threat of sudden or violent death about 75% of the time. That's not a very comfortable thought. And now the real part of my work begins. As a Secret Service agent, even though I'm only an actor playing the part of one, I had to memorize all of this. We started with the exhibit room. There's plenty to look at in here. With the help of Inspector Mike Torina, I learned a lot. Every item had its own exciting story behind it. Exciting and sometimes very tragic, too. Those guns, they were intended to kill a president. It gives you a funny feeling to realize the living story behind those inanimate objects. Assassination of a president, or in this case, attempted assassination. Just yesterday's story now, but at the time, It took a room like this to remind me that assassins attacked 3 of our presidents within the space of less than 50 years. Lincoln, Garfield, and President McKinley. It was after the assassination of McKinley that protection of the president was turned over to the Secret Service. It's a job that has many ramifications. Special agents are expected to place their own bodies between the president and anyone who might attempt to harm him. And if an attempt should be made to kill the president, the Secret Service man has to be ready to shoot with either hand. When they say protect the president, boy, they just ain't kidding. The next stop on our agenda was the Contraband Room. There was plenty to see in here. You might call it a miniature museum of what not to do with your time. No, that isn't a salute to Santa Claus. It's what they call their money tree. You know, I tried a lame, broken-down joke. I asked them if they had to water it every day. It didn't get much of a laugh. Some misguided would-be genius had the idea that this offset machine would print passable currency. He was wrong. One too many threads, or maybe the ink didn't look just right, and he drew a blank, just like that last bill right there. If you look at the stuff closely enough, you finally get the idea of what to look for in a phony bill. The counterfeit stuff, even the best of it, is very crude by comparison. You know, I had my hands on $250,000 in phony money. This stuff was so good I was told you could pass it 24 hours a day. It took a real expert to detect what was counterfeit. Those blow-up bills on top of the cabinet are counterfeit, too. All counterfeit bills are blown up in this manner so they can be studied for the imperfect details which make them easy for an agent to detect. In connection with this, I learned a very interesting fact. Every agent has to know how the genuine currency is made so that they can better detect the counterfeit. There were enough phony silver coins in those bags to break a man's back. They'd broken a lot of backs, in a manner of speaking, if you added up the years in prison served by the criminals who tried to cheat the government. Well, let's see now. No, never mind. I'm not that good with figures. This vault contained examples of all the counterfeit bills apprehended by the Secret Service agents. Some of them were awful good examples. Almost too good. In the genuine article, the Treasury seal is beautifully made and beautifully shaded. The points are as sharp as diamonds. And the shadings in the portraits is fine and delicately made. The check letter and faceplate numbers always furnish a good clue as to the authenticity of the Treasury seal. The defective figures and letters in the inferior grade of printing are warning notices to the Secret Service agents. This is what they look for in examining a bill. Inspector Torina was more than willing to answer any questions I wanted to ask. And believe me, boy, I asked plenty. About Mr. Old 880, for example, or the character known as Count Victor Lustig. Lustig made and passed over $2 million in his day. Sounds real profitable, doesn't it? All depends on how you look at it. Lustig died in Alcatraz. This was a room I was very interested in. Case histories, thousands upon thousands of them. Mr. Prather is the man in charge. He's got every one of them right at his fingertips. I want to take a good long look around here. See all those cabinets over there? Inside of them is the record of every case the Secret Service has worked on. Literally thousands of them. Each the story of some human being or group of human beings who thought they could find an easier way of making a living than working for it. Records of counterfeiters, thieves, forgers, and swindlers. Right now, I felt almost affectionate toward those files, because inside of them was the vital material which would prove to be the lifeblood of our series. Authentic? This was as authentic as you could get. For administrative purposes, the United States is divided into 4 regions, and the field offices of each region are regularly inspected by 4 inspectors attached to the office of the chief. The agents prefer to work in twos, but due to the fact that they're generally very short-handed, they often have to work alone. Protecting the president doesn't stop with the physical protection of the chief executive. It reaches out to the investigation and taking into custody of all kinds of potential threats to his safety. Mentally ill or genuinely dangerous people who send threatening or obscene letters or messages through the mail or by telegram. And in case there's any doubt as to the criminal's guilt, here's the baby that'll tell you whether he's lying or not. It's the latest thing in lie detectors. I tried it on. Agent Jim Griffith demonstrated. Fits like it was made to order. It's nice and cozy. But it picks up that extra telltale heartbeat just like radar. Secret Service men work quietly and unobtrusively in all of their activities. A great part of their work is preventative, educating the public in the ways and tricks of their common enemy. Because, now hear me, because every time a phony dollar is cashed, it's got to come out of some taxpayer's pocket. You know, it could be yours. This was one big point that was impressed on me. Secret Service agents are as much concerned with protecting the innocent as bringing the guilty to punishment. No indoctrination course would be complete without a visit to the target range. Inspector Mike Torina was my escort and guide and took me behind the scenes of this very important side of every agent's training. Looking at that simple, dignified building, I suddenly thought of something. It was only 162 years old. Why, that was only about twice the age of my own father. Yeah, we're still a very young country. We've got a lot to learn. But like most youngsters, we got a lot we can teach some of our elders, too. At the range, I met... Now, wait a minute. This is no gag. Officer William S. Crawford. He's in charge of training the White House police. It's a part of the Secret Service. Officer Crawford won the World's Championship twice. Just be grateful you don't have to tangle up with some of the men he's trained. Every agent has to pass the most exacting test on the range if he wants to stay an agent. All special agents, including inspectors, have to pass a marksmanship test every 30 days. If they fail, they got to take it all over again. Let me give you an idea of some of the requirements. A man has to be able to fire 5 shots with his right hand, unload, reload, and fire 5 shots with his left in a maximum of 20 seconds. Bill Crawford there has been known to do it in 15 seconds. But I hate to say this, he's a little out of practice right now. It takes him 18 seconds. Remember what I said about an agent having to be able to fire with either hand? Well, here's where he learns it. Firing from a standing posture, from a crouch, from the hip, from behind doors, from a moving car at moving targets. Firing with pistols and machine guns. A Secret Service agent has got to have lightning reflexes, left-handed or right-handed. A split second is the difference between life and death. You know, it's funny. I never knew an orange had anything in common with a gun. But when Bill Crawford told me to squeeze, I learned there was a lot more to shooting than just pulling the trigger. It's one thing to hit your target when you're standing still. But when you're on the move, brother, it takes science. You just can't take time out to remember where you learned it. The guy who finds himself at the business end of this submachine gun may not find himself for a long, long time. I learned that I wasn't firing a blasting machine, but a delicate instrument of destruction where the shots are ticked off with rhythm, precision, and speed. With one of these, you could thread a needle a couple of 100 yards away. It gave me an awful good feeling to know that every Secret Service agent has this kind of training. Because wherever the President of the United States might be throughout the world, he and his family could sleep a whole lot easier. Before calling it a day, there was one last place I wanted to visit. Yeah, you're way ahead of me, I know. That same beautiful white building. The one I'd looked at through the window at Chief Bauman's office. A building, but a lot more than just a building. A tradition. A symbol. The very special symbol that is the very special responsibility of the White House police. We went inside and talked about... Wait a minute. Something about this trip has to remain secret. It had been a pretty tough day all the way around. In the space of a few short hours, I tried to accomplish what normally would take several weeks to do. But still, it wasn't quite as rough as it could have been. You know, I was real happy I didn't have time for the boys at the judo school. As a matter of fact, I felt pretty good. There was something real invigorating about getting the feel of a Secret Service agent firsthand. I'd met a lot of great guys. Plain, ordinary citizens like myself. Well, that was about it. It's time to say goodbye. Time to get down to the real work. It's a wonderful thing about airplanes. They get you places in a hurry. And we were in a hurry. We had a show to get going. A great big show. And we wanted to make it as big as its subject. Boy, how big can you get? The United States Secret Service. It's plenty big for me. I took one last look around before I hopped on the plane. So long, guys. So long for now. We'd be seeing each other again real soon. And right now, I'm going to make you a promise. When you see me on your TV screen as a United States Secret Service agent, you'll be seeing as close a replica of yourselves as I can humanly make it. Well, that's about it, except for the actual stories themselves. I'd like to say again, as we said in Chief Bauman's office, this is the first time that the closed cases of the United States Secret Service has been used exclusively. Well, I'll be seeing you. Oh, wait a minute, come here. You'll be seeing me. And this, the official badge of the United States Secret Service.